Hello, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to make piping, which is used as a decorative trim. You will see it often on those really pretty designer pillows and on your more expensive clothing. I use it a lot on many of my crafting projects. So let's look at the type of cording that is used when creating piping. You will see that there's multiple sizes and you will pick the type that fits your project the best. Now you can see it comes from really skinny, a little bit bigger, and then it gets really large, and this is just a few that is available out there. Now your cording is put on large spools, and when you go to your fabric store, you're going to take that spool to the cutting counter and they're going to cut off what you need. Always ask for a little bit more than what you think, because often I've purchased exactly the amount of inches that are going to fit on that pillow, and when I put it on, I've come up too short. So always get a little bit more. Also make sure that the person cutting your cording tapes the ends. Sometimes you get somebody new, they don't know to do that, and then this is what happens. So make sure they put tape on it. Just nicely ask them, please tape the ends. Okay, one other thing you need to look at, read the label on the spool to see if the cording you want can be washed, because not all of it can. So if you're going to put piping on a little girl's dress and that dress is going to go into the washing machine, you may have put the wrong type on there. So make sure, because a lot of it has to be dry cleaned. All right, let's look at your fabric strips. This is fabric that was cut on the straight grain, and when I tug on it, it does not stretch. This is not usually the type of cut that you would use. Once in a while, yes, only if your piping is going to go on a straight edge. But often piping will go on a curved edge. So this is a strip of fabric that's cut on the bias and it stretches. Okay, this is the preferred way when using your piping for most projects. If you don't know how to cut this on the bias, watch my video, Bias Cut Binding, and I go into big detail on how to do this. Okay, pressure feet. Now, this type of foot is, you probably have something very similar to this on your sewing machine. This will not work. It's too wide. This is a piping zipper foot. Okay? Now, it's half the width of this one, okay? That's so that you can get up real close to something and get those stitches in really, really close. If you don't have one, check with your user manual to see what type to get, or go to your local sewing machine store to see if they can help you get one that works on your machine. These are about $20, okay? All right, now, when cutting your strips, you want to not only include how much will wrap around your cording, but you want to make sure you make it wide enough so you have seam allowance. So cut it in, place your cording down the middle, fold it in half, and bring the raw edges together, okay? Push that cording to the center, all right? Now, when I push it to the center, this is giving me a 1/2 inch seam allowance, okay? Because that's what I want to put it on a pillow for me, for this particular one. If you require something different, you're going to either add more fabric or less, depending on what you have. All right, so you would go ahead and pin it as I have. Now I'm going to put a few little notes here. This is real important. Okay, they may seem a little redundant, but I can't stress it enough. Pull your pins out as you stitch. Don't stitch over the pins, okay? There you go. All right, so now go to your sewing machine. Make sure that piping foot's on there. Lower that pressure foot. Put your needle down into the fabric and hug that cording, okay? As you approach that first pin, you're going to pull it out and continue stitching. Make sure your raw edges are together, okay? Then when you're done, it's going to look like this. Now, what I do after I stitch my piping together, I verify that I've got the right seam allowance. So I line up a ruler and I want 1/2 inch, so I lined up my 1/2 inch mark on the stitch line, and I do have my 1/2 inch. Now, if you have too much, okay, then go ahead and trim off any excess that you may have. Now, if you have too little, I have a little trick you can do to recover from that. Okay, so now you're going to start putting it in your seam. So place the raw edge of the piping along the raw edge of your fabric. Okay, now since I want a 1/2 inch, I would line it right up against there. But if you didn't have enough in here, let's say you didn't want a 1/2 inch, you needed 5/8, just pull it back that 1/8 of an inch and pin it down, okay? All right, I'm going to continue on. So here, I've pinned mine in the way I want it for 1/2 inch. Then go back to your machine, lower that pressure foot down, get your needle down in there, and as you approach your pins, pull them out and continue stitching, hugging this cording and go all the way down, okay? All right, then after you've done that, take your next piece of fabric, because now we're going to close that seam off. You're going to line up your raw edges again. Make sure everything is lined up. And then pin it down, all the way down the strip. Then again, you're going to repeat that same process. Put that pressure foot down, needle down, and as you approach your pins, pull them out and stitch all the way down. Okay, now this is what it looks like when we're done. Okay, I stitched it all together, and when I open it up, this is what you have. Isn't that nice? And I'll show you a side view. This is a nice decorative edging for your project. Well, I hope that was helpful to you. Now, my next video is going to be on pillows. I will have several out, and I'll show you how to make a really simple pillow cover that won't take you hardly any time at all. Then I will also have one on how to put this pretty piping on the edge, and I'll show you a little trick for getting around that corner so it's nice and smooth. Now, to keep informed on all my future videos, click on subscribe. It's that big bold letter down there at the bottom of your YouTube screen. You click on that, YouTube will ask you if you would like to receive an email notification. Say yes, enter your email address, and the next time I have a new video that comes out, they will send you an email with a big button in the center. You click on that and it'll take you directly to my next video. I'm Cheryl. I'm so glad you came to my sewing room. See you next time, and happy sewing.